Hello everyone, welcome to this course model level model 2 lesson 1. Our model 2 as in general course here is we're going to see an overview of what model 2 covers in general. Here in model 2 we're talking about prompt engineering for design. Okay, so how you can prompt for you to be able to get good out what actually entails or what encompasses a good prompt, because prompt engineering on itself is a whole school. Let's actually get to view a course overview of this lesson or module. Okay, what's the course objective? Be able to understand anatomy of a strong prompt as a learner, so you will know what to give ChatGPT for it to generate or design as required as you want. Okay, and what is the outcome? As a student, you can be able to structure prompts with subjects that are audience focus, with use cases. You have specific mode, you have a style, the color, composition, and output intent. So everything very specific and direct to actually what you want as output. So a core shift here is that a prompt is not just a sentence, a random short sentence or something. Nah, a prompt is at least something of a category of a paragraph, because it encompasses a lot of directions and things. So it's a miniature creative brief. So let's look at the different lesson that are going to be unveiled, or we are going to cover in this module. As far as module 2 is concerned, we have prompt structure, which is what we are subsequently going to be seeing in this part of the lesson of module 2 lesson 1. Flyer prompting, logo prompting, product visuals, prompt quality. So these are the 5 different lessons we're going to uncover, or we're going to go through in this module 2 as far as module 2 is concerned. So let's look at a prompt brief. So that here we are going to be going so very fast and straightforward. No need to talk so much. Let's look at a prompt brief of how a prompt is supposed to be structured. We have 4 basic layers. Yeah, these are like the foundation. When you're building a house, you have the foundation you need to set up before the building stands up and you come and do the finishing touches. So the rule, what should AI act as when it's trying to design? It might be if it's a design of a business flyer, you'll be like, okay, visualize yourself as an entrepreneur. Okay, you can give AI that role, that visualize yourself as an entrepreneur to create this flyer of this so like. So it's an example. That's how you assign a role to AI. So who is he acting as? So he considers himself at that position. He will know, like, okay, I don't need to give something out of the space or generic. The assets, what are you creating? And then the audience directed to who, and then the subject which is promoted to, okay, or shown to. So you see that these 4 blocks are the strategic brief. So the rest now comes like shaping, like just style, do some finishing touches, which are the tone, how it should feel, the style, what visual language should it use. You can literally generate a design in multiple languages as you want, provided you just ask, okay, I want this design to be in Arab writing. We give it to you, no problem, even though you're typing in English. So that's the power of it. Then palette, which colors are you supposed to support? The composition is where the text space should live. Okay, let's now look at a full blown of the 8 as combined together, and try to produce an anatomy of what is, or analyze what is actually. You can see now the 8 full-blown categories, or 8 full-blown steps or procedures that are required in prompting, okay, which we've already literally spoken about them. Role, asset, the audience, the subject, the tone, style, palette, and the composition. So role plus asset, this audience, subject, tone, style, palette, composition, and output intent. All of these helps you improve professionalism, create something professional. Okay, so we are going to be looking at 2 directions of how prompting is all about. We're going to look at a vague prompt, a prompt that doesn't contain all of these 8 different layers, and we will run it Actually, I've already run the prompt, so just go and see the output and a prompt and another prompt that will encompass all the 8 different layers that I just mentioned earlier, or that we just observed. So there's the first prompt. You see the weak prompt is you just like come, as we said about the design here is not about a sentence, because this is a sentence. Create a promotional visual for a business event. Let's look why this prompt is not good. There's no audience, no mode of visual language, no composition guidance, no text safe intent. Okay, and let's go and look at the output of what this prompt is actually going to give to us. So here you can see there's a prompt that I launched in my ChatGPT. It's a plus account, it's a company's account. Create a promotional visual for a business event. Okay, you might like, okay, this is very good. It has all details, but is it specific to what you want? It's just so generic and everything just tied up, choked up. You know, you're just like confused. You didn't ask for all these details, but it just gave it to you like that just because of a generic sentence. And actually, imagine if you were like, okay, you added to the prompt, create promotional visual for a business event for my company or something, I don't know, or the business event, you just give the business events name and it just generates a generic something like this. You know, you see that all the details, everything hasn't been respected, all those kind of things. So let's look at how a real prompt is supposed to be structured. Here are the 4 first pillars that are supposed to be considered. Okay, we are taking an example already. As already mentioned, explain the different pillars or the foundation. Role. Here we are assigning a role to the AI, Senior Campaign Art Director. Wow, this is amazing. There are a premium promotional hero visual. Audience, young entrepreneurs. Subject, business growth workshop. Let's look at the 4 different pillars or the other pillars that come to just emblematic or spice up the prompts. Let's look at how with these 4 pillars the prompt that you can generate. Act as a senior campaign art director. Create a premium promotional hero visual for a business growth workshop for young entrepreneurs. So you see, there's already a prompt generated from these 4 pillars. So now we're going to now look at the remaining 4 pillars, okay, which are going to complement the prompt or spice up the prompt and fix it up, okay. So let's look at the last spicing up stuff. You have the tone, confident, upward energy. Style, polished, modern, professional. Palette, dark, elegant background and warm gold highlights. Composition, clean negative space on left for headline text. You know, at the end of this entire model, of course, when we'll be talking about the final portfolio review, the last module of freelancing, I'll give you tips on how you can generate all of these things, because you'll be like, this is so big English, how can you just sit and imagine all of this? I'll give you tips on how you can generate this. So without making you feel overwhelmed, let's just set up and let's look at the prompts that you will use to generate. Use a dark, elegant background, warm gold highlights, confident upward energy, polished modern look, and a clean text safe space on it. So you see now that these remaining 4 pillars have been used. So you see now that these remaining 4 pillars have been used to actually make the second prompt. So actually what I've done is that I copied both prompts and I merged and pasted in ChatGPT. So let's head up and look at the output. That's just a placeholder. Let's look at the output from ChatGPT. Yeah, so this is it. Act as a senior art campaign director, create a promotional visual flare, growth workshop for young entrepreneurs. With a dark, elegant background, confident about energy, okay, blah blah blah. Get young entrepreneurs. So can't you see this is very specific, safe spacing, safe text spacing. It's so direct and clear. You get, because this one above is so generic. So let's head up and look at all we're going to be looking at the detailed comparison or analysis breakdown comparison between the two. Back to the lesson. Okay, so yeah, you can see the proof layer now of the 2 different versions that we've exported and added to the tutorial, the weak versus the structured layer or design. Let's look at let's just compare based on these 4 main characteristics: audience, mode, control, hierarchy, support, and usability. You see here that For the audience, it is very generic and unclear. You didn't precise this. Everything is just so generic and you try to just randomly do it. Okay? Top icons, prices, and just put it on itself and just phone number and all the rest. But now the audience figure is specifying to young entrepreneurs. Get whereas here you can see some people already above. They look at mostly like established entrepreneurs because we're talking about young entrepreneurs. We're considering an age of 20 to early 30s, as we call young entrepreneurs. So let's look at the mood control. It's very chaotic and noisy. Everything is so choked up and compiled, not detailed. But here is very confident and premium. So you'll see everything is just straightforward and easy to like scan through everything and understand that okay, this was the hierarchy support here. You see that text competes. You can see the way everything is structured here. Everything seems bold here, bolded, and still come below here. You still find something kind of bold, trying to be competing the same with this one trying to be competing with this, all this because of lack of precision, and this one trying to be competing with this. So it's supposed to be a descending order, like hierarchy of visibility norms. Okay, the way elements are supposed to be visible as according to their hierarchy or what is needed to be seen at first. So when you look at this other one, the structured version, what's first to be seen is the type business. And now when you try to use an italic font and incline like this, you see that it kind of like picks out, single out it, like okay, what's there? Okay, you've seen it. It is young entrepreneurs, and the rest descends as follows, and you can see the registration button. Then usability is hard to finish, yeah, because a very weak output, or the due to your weak prompt, the version for correction will take a lot of, and based on the structured version, easy for you to lay out for corrections. Okay, let's look at a detailed step of how you could do refinement. That's the refinement loop. Okay, version 1, too vague, weak prompt. So what can you do? The refinement number 1 is proposition. You can simplify the style direction. Too many adjectives create noise. Okay, then refinement number 2 or version 2 for better fit and structured brief. You produce a clear composition, say where text safe space should live. Okay, how the spacing of the text should it be located by the left or the right as it's supposed to be. You've seen on the flyer there, on the structured email flyer, you've seen the image of a person on the right and the text on the left, and it's well spaced out, so not mixing and congestion of things anyhow. Version 3, then version 3 refining composition. So what can you do? You keep one dominant mode and one clear use case. So you could actually do this refinement of this last version is it's like you've gotten a reference from somewhere, and actually that's what you want to use, like a use case of an event, and you want it to be like that, and you want it to have that same mode. That's how you do to keep it. So thank you very much for listening up and following up to this point. Story that this lesson or courses won't be long because it's straightforward. Thank you for listening. And if you're curious about how we do refinement, don't worry. We will be doing refinement in dedicated module, that's I think module 3, when we'll be doing the process of designing flyers with AI. So that's where we dive into the application of how you can refine if you have a weak version that's been generated, or if you generated a design and it looks not, it doesn't still yet conveys what you want. So we shall do that live session.